Hey guys, and welcome back to Sonic Chronicles. We have come to Sector Scylla in search of more Chaos Emeralds, and this is the Nrrgal colony. They're not exactly humanoid-esque like the Kron were, so you may be in for a bit of culture shock here, but if you've ever sampled any kind of media involving like aliens or sci-fi, you kind of know what to expect here. Also, they look a little bit like Pokemon.
I guess in a way, like, what's that like psychic thing from I think Gen 5 that's like the little green orb thing?
It's the Nrrgal Slurm.
Yeah, them ones. That's sort of what it makes me think of in terms of the design here.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'd say your closest comparison would be Nrrgal's colour palette mixed with a four-armed muck. Is basically what the Nrrgals are.
That plus maybe a little bit of Zygarde as well. Oh my god.
Yeah, that is true.
They are huge. Alright, Flame, explain to us a thing or two about the Nrrgal. What are their strengths, what are their weaknesses?
Right, well, I can't exactly remember if there's a specific strategy for them, but what I'm doing is I'm going in with what I start doing with most enemies of my usual loop of throw the power moves and then restore me power points. But what you might notice there when we had that dialogue thing is these you can just leave them be and not fight them. But like if you do that, then not only do you miss out on the experience and shit, but also like they stay as their smaller form. Whereas if you do fight them, you sort of merge together into these bigger forms, which is kind of an interesting thing. Also, I think he just healed.
Yes, he just fully healed. That is ridiculous.
Well, I think we found their gimmick, Flame. Richie, can you bring up the Nrrgal on the wiki, please?
Yes, I have done. They are a race of gelatinous slug-like aliens. That's basically that. They come in three known forms depending on the species' class. Nrrgal drones appear as translucent green semi-liquid slugs with 4 tentacles and 4 cyanides. The Nrrgal warriors, which is what we're facing now, are identical to the Nrrgal drones but much larger. Finally, the Nrrgal queen resembles a giant clam tree, I think they mean palm tree, made of slime with a cyan slime orb on top and several smaller cyan eyes on her upper body.
Okay.
We'll see her later. In terms of their powers and abilities, the Nrrgal are described as energy eaters capable of absorbing energy from machines and life force from their opponents, which serves as their main defence. This gives them a powerful regenerative capacity, thus allowing them to completely rejuvenate themselves with just one attack. They can also shoot slime as projectiles.
There you go.
The Nrrgal can reproduce asexually by splitting in two to form a pair of new worker drones, which make them ideal frontline soldiers. On the other hand, individual Nrrgal drones can agglomerate together to produce fearsome opponents. Enough of them in one place allows them to form the Nrrgal Queen, a controlling Hivemind that possesses the collective consciousness and knowledge of its constituent drones.
Kinda cool. It's your basic, like Richie said, Hivemind sort of thing. There's another race that we'll see that is like the collective consciousness, I think. They all like... Actually, I'm not sure how that works. I think it's a little bit different, so I'm not going to say either way right now. But, yeah, I think it's pretty clear who we have to go see, and I think it's pretty clear who is in possession of a Chaos Emerald right now. So, let's level up big, because there may be some poo gas around here, and we may have need of his powers.
Well, it's not so much gas, it's more like these weird laser things that you've got to use big to pass through, which is a little bit weird. Like, the gas I sort of get, okay, he's too stupid to get poisoned, but is he too stupid to feel lasers as well? I don't know.
Basically, like, Big is so oblivious to everything that he can just waltz through any danger and he'll be fine. I mean, really, I'm surprised that it didn't do Big has to walk through an explosion to get somewhere, because, honestly... that would have been hilarious, and would have also just made the whole invulnerability thing just make so much more nonsense, but be so perfect, it's ridiculous.
Alright, team, what do we do here? Well, reason with them? Okay, that's good, Tails. That's a very you move. Knuckles, punch them. Shade, reason with them. Amy, have sex with them? No, Amy, no, bad!
I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
Yeah, also... I'm not quite sure it would be Amy making that suggestion. I feel that if we're going to go along stereotypes, it would clearly be Rouge who would make
Rouge
that
doesn't give a
suggestion.
shit. She's like all focused on the job and whatnot. That whole flirting thing is just to get the person's guard down so she can steal shit. She's Catwoman. Not literally. I know she's a bat.
But no, this is what I'm saying. That is why that would be her tactic, because she'd want to flirt and stuff with the Queen so that she could get their help to get off the planet.
I like how you're actually thinking about this now, like, and it wasn't even my fault in any way.
I mean, when you're in, science fiction territory, sometimes you have to think like a science fiction writer, I suppose. Which is to say, sometimes not all the ways through.
Yeah, although to be fair, it's probably more sci-fi writers than science fiction writers, because there is a slight difference. There is. I mean, it's more whether you term it as SF or sci-fi, because the writers who do SF or sort of more classic science fiction style, they put a lot of effort into the science behind the way their worlds work and all of that in it, whereas sci-fi is more sort of the setting type stuff, so putting it in space and far off planets, spaceships and stuff. That generally dictates sort of the sci-fi, whereas the SF is when you get much more into, the scientific ramifications of things. I'm trying to think of an example of sci-fi, but an example of SF would be Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. Pretty much anything that Isaac Asimov ever wrote, because, I mean, if I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure he was a science teacher before he sort of got into writing.
Makes sense.
And he's an incredible writer. I would recommend pretty much most of his books to people who want a good old-fashioned science fiction narrative.
I gotta say, that stock barfing sound effect like characters make when they get hit, that is still used to this day. It's actually kind of remarkable.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with like these sample banks that are just like archived forever. Like, it's just one of them things. Like, you notice the same samples showing up over and over in different things sometimes, don't you?
I was thinking about why that was, and yeah, there is an element of like, oh, it's just cheap to use, so might as well go with it. You don't have to get an actor to explicitly, pretend to barf and so on. But like, do you think maybe it's a thing like stops triggering people's gag reflexes and so on? Just have a kind of dulled down sort of noise?
Possibly, yeah, just to make it not too unpleasant for a viewing experience kind of thing.
Basically.
Then there is also the case of the same stock sound effects show up in everything, and even to the point of like, I know Sega have like blanket rights to certain like sample libraries, because what you notice is that from way across the Sonic series, whenever they've used samples in soundtracks, sometimes like they can be completely different games by like completely different sound directors and musicians and whatnot, and they were borrowing samples from the same like archive. Like I think it's one of them, like one of the Get Down samples from Sonic CD. That Get Down quote that leads directly into the Up and Down and All Around thing from Sonic Adventure. Like literally, it's from the same breath from the guy talking. And like the fact that those games had different sound directors and that, it does make me think that they just have like a blanket license, so they just hand all their samples over to whoever's working on a game.
Well, I mean, it would make sense, and I mean, it's one of those things which I suspect that probably a lot of sound directors and stuff do anyway, is that they build themselves their own libraries of samples which they then make use of in whatever projects they end up working on, because I mean, why would you not? You've gone through the effort to create a sample, so you'd want to get as much use out of it as possible and kind of go forward with that.
Well, see, the thing is, these aren't samples that they've made, these are samples that they've bought the rights to.
Well, yeah, but sort of once you've got that library and you've got the rights to it, you would just make use of it, because what is the point in buying another whole load of kind of samples when you've already got a whole bunch. Like, it doesn't make sense to spend that money on that if you don't actually need it.
Waste not, one not.
Yeah, I know Naganuma likes to repurpose these samples sometimes because like the Right There Ride On guitar riff is borrowed from something that he used in one of the Jet Set Radio songs, and also like I think he did like a guest composition on one of these Super Monkey Ball games, which he actually used a up-pitched version of the do part from Raising Me Up. Which actually it is kind of obvious once you notice it because it is like the exact same melody, but it's cool when you do clock onto that.
This has been the audiophile hour, or part, of the Sonic Chronicles playthrough. By the way, that battering ram move, amazing. I think I took Big all the way to the final boss during my initial run, and battering ram really served me well though.
Yeah, Big is kind of useful as a big hitter. I will be making use of him again in, like, I think the last chapter actually, because I will need a big hitter during certain parts of that.
Oh yes.
Bit redundant to call him a big hitter when his name is Big, but whatever. Right, the mission now is to basically save the Nrrgal from being genocided by the Zoa. I don't think the Zoa are the ones doing this personally. Like, remember, Ix is a bit of a prick. Like, if I could control these factions and stop them coming after me by getting them to fight one another, I would do just that, honestly.
Well, it is just a scapegoating tactic, and it's just that like if we can turn them against each other, they won't turn against me, sort of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so basically what's occurring is that the Nrrgal have learned that the Zoa have acquired a new secret weapon that could destroy their entire race and allow them to conquer the colony once and for all. But then Ix, being Ix, decided to give them a Chaos Emerald to defend themselves with and destroy the Zoa if the need arose. So basically they've allied themselves with the Nocturnus clan and basically created a nice old space Cold War.
Nice. Well, not nice, but cool to see, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a cool war.
Aren't they all, Flame? Aren't they all?
No, people die in them. That's not cool.
People die when they are killed. I understand now.
Yeah, thank you, anime.
So the Nrrgal planned to take the Zoa's weapon, but if a resident of the Nrrgal colony were to be sent out on that mission, the Zoa would see it as an act of war, and then would use their weapon to destroy the Nrrgal colony. So, basically, we've arrived at the time when I've just completely lost track, but yeah, they're just going to say, "Can you help us?" And that's basically going to be your lot.
Not your most dignified end to a statement ever, mate, but I get what you're, like, getting at here. Ix is not the most powerful guy, but I guess he makes do with, like, manipulation and underhanded tactics and so on, as opposed to, like, Eggman, who can utilise manipulation and whatnot, but prefers to conquer with brute force.
Yeah.
Well, saying Ix is not the most powerful guy is kind of an understatement when you see the end of the game, but we'll get there when we get there. But, yeah.
Don't expect some kind of, like, grand final boss, guys, that's all I'm saying now.
I should say, if you're wondering why there was a random spot bot here, they were just talking about how it might have just got sucked in the wall hole at some point, but the reason why we had to go after it was polluting their river, which, you know, we've polluted the Slime River. That works somehow. But that's pretty much what that little side quest was. I know we were distracted by other stuff, but you didn't really miss much either way.
Nice dodging there, by the way. Although, to be fair, the thing was like half the size of the walkway itself, so...
Yeah, like, sometimes I do just take the L and think, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna have to take him on.
Yeah,
especially that.
Don't fuck the alien, mate. I think you'll dissolve.
Some people are into that, you know.
Look, you can say chaff. We're all friends here.
Well, I mean, it was Tanner who was going on about it during the stream once, but yeah.
Oh, Tanner. I love the dude. He's great to do comms with, especially when he does all the voice work for me so I can focus on the gameplay and whatnot. But man, some things should be kept to DMs. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, that's why we were talking about it for a good few hours straight on your live stream. Aren't you proud of us, Tom?
Oh.
Whatever. I have work to do. Goodbye. Return later, friends.
Get back here, you bitch. We've got another 6 minutes.
Even here, there are Chow. Did they get sucked into the portal as well?
No, these are space Chow, I guess.
That would be really cool if you could find Chow on different sides of the portal. Although, there's only like... It's very segmented, this game. You know, you have the first few chapters, and then you have the second half of the game. And you can't really jump between worlds, which is a bit of a missed opportunity, but this is Babby's first RPG, so...
Yeah.
It kind of is a missed opportunity that there's not different kind of Chow in different areas and that it is just an RNG kind of thing. I suppose it is kind of making it more manageable to get the one you might want, but still, you know. It'd be easier if it was just a case of, okay, this Chow that I want appears in this area, I can go find it, rather than, I can reset my game literally 50 times in a row. That's fun.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest flaw with the Chow system, is that because it is random, there's a chance that you get the same Chow twice, and ultimately that's not how anybody wants collectibles to work ever, because it's just like, well, if I wanted to 100% Sonic Chronicles, which
yes,
for some stupid reason I did want to try and do, I think it's just like, I want to get as much out of this piece of crap as possible to make me feel like I had done at least something with my purchase, and yeah, that was just really frustrating.
Okay, we're done. That was quicker than anticipated. So, the Zoa have apparently developed a weapon to end the conflict once and for all. Yeah, that don't really bode well for anyone in this situation, because if we're here when they fire it, we all die, and probably the Chaos Emerald goes up as well. So, why don't we head on over to the Zoa and have a talk with them? Yes.
To be fair, with how the Chaos Emeralds are, I don't think even a WMD would be able to take them out. They're useful for anything kind of powers, aren't they?
Yeah, it's funny, in the Fleetway comic, the Master Emerald did get destroyed, but there was like a graveyard of like stones and whatnot that Knuckles basically chiseled into a new Master Emerald. The actual Chaos Emeralds themselves never got destroyed, and I've never seen that happen in any continuity.
No, well, the Master Emerald, at least we know that's vulnerable from how many times it got fucking broken in the main canon, but still.
Yeah, but I think what we can also learn from the Master Emerald is that actually, because it can be put back together again, that would suggest that the Chaos Emerald would react similarly if broken. You just need to, bring all the pieces together again, and they just sort of magically reunite, rather than, Knuckles having to try and use glue with his massive boxing gloves.
Yeah, oh god, that would be kind of funny, actually. Someone make a flash animation out of that. But, yes, we must go in place of, like, any Nrrgal warriors to the Zoa colony, because, if any Nrrgal are seen there, it will be seen as an act of war, and this colony goes bye-bye very quickly.
Yes.
We're just the awkward middleman at this point, which is great when they've both got mess weapons that they're thinking about using.
Well, just move fast and carry a huge stick in order to whack them with.
You can't outrun the WMD.
I can, and I will.
Challenge accepted, bitch.
Where are you going? The ship is back there, Flame.
Yeah, but there's stuff.
Whatever, at least you're cutting out the battles and whatnot.
So I'm just getting the reward for cleaning up the lake, I think.
Okay, this was not the Zoa's fault. Time for a shower, ugly. You're not kidding. Notice how he completely skips over that thing.
Well, I mean, that's probably just like how they smell naturally, given they're giant slime monsters.
I will continue tending to the Queen as she slurps out endless supplies of Nrrgal for the great war effort against the Zoa.
Oh.
It's fine, she's just making Slurm in there.
I was gonna say, Wibby Wham Wham Wessel!
Oh god.
Oh, party on, Galaxy Travellers, party on.
So it's funny because what I remember from that is how fucking DMC just reused that story like blow for blow.
Oh my god, you're not wrong actually, you're not wrong at all. I like the idea of Shadow just chilling, like reading a magazine or something in the ship while we're doing the hard work. Look, I'm 50 years old, I'm getting on alright.
Yeah, but you were seeing the capsule doing fuck all for like 40 odd of those, so you got nothing to do.
Yeah, well, Aang's like 200 by the time he comes out of the iceberg. Everyone needs to sit down every once in a while.
Very true.
Amy, I think it's pretty obvious why he's giving them a Chaos Emerald. Yeah, exactly. He's playing them against each other. Here you go. Here's a magical MacGuffin. Don't you use it against the people who've been trying to kill you for years. Don't do it. Bye now.
That would be terrible if that were to happen, wouldn't it? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Indeed, indeed. Alright, so I guess we're going in hot here. They are the warrior-like race. We have the crafters in the Chron. We have like the slimy Hivemind race with the Nrrgal and the Zoa warrior clan. So, we're taking Shade, we're taking Shadow, and obviously Cream with Sonic in the lead. Level up Shadow here. I'm definitely not stalling for time. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Alright guys, please join us next time in Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood, where we go to maybe have a little word with the Zoa. See you then.